Okay guys, summer is on the way, and what better to bring in the sunshine than a beautiful chicken parm. It's indulgent, it's flavourful, it's simple, it's a dish of 3 parts, and we're going to make it. Let's get it. Chicken parm, hot dog and bologna. Okay, chicken parm. First things first, you've got to work on your chicken. You want to take your breast with the fat bit towards you, pull out your mini fillet, and then you're just going to ease your knife into the thickest part of the breast and butterfly it out very gently. That's all it needs. Once they're butterflied, we're going to bang them out. And with this, you're not smacking it as hard as you can, you're just teasing the hammer down onto the board. Not looking to create any holes right through the meat, you're just looking to flatten it out. So now the chicken's smashed out, we're going to make a spice mix. Now the seasoning on the chicken is so important. You can salt and pepper it and just leave it like that, but I like to go garlic powder, onion powder, oregano to capture those flavours and really bring them into the dish. Salt and pepper. So now this is your seasoning mix. You're going to sprinkle that all over the chicken. Now our chicken is beautifully seasoned, we're going to go with a penne. Now when you're setting up a penne, you want to work from right to left, or left to right, depending on what your preference is. The breadcrumbs are in, and we're going to crack the egg. If your chicken's on the board like this, you don't really need to get a bowl of flour involved, you just sprinkle the flour over the top. Now what the flour's doing is it's like picking up the moisture that's on the outside of our chicken breast, and it's creating that first layer of glue. So our breasts are floured, we go into the egg, and now it's important when you're panning you have a wet hand and a dry hand. This is now my designated wet hand. I'm going to put it into the panko, use my dry hand to go into the panko and cover that palm. Tiny bit of panko on your tray for your breast to sit on, and that comes out and goes on. Right, a little clean down. Now we're all clean and all the raw chicken bits are away. You take your chicken parm that's been paned, seasoned, batted down beautifully, and just stick that in the fridge. This can be done a day in advance, half a day in advance. It's going to stay in the fridge like that, covered with the breadcrumb, cling filmed for easily a day. Now that's in the fridge, we're going to get onto our second element, which is our beautiful tomato sauce. Tomato. It's a sauce like a mama used to make. So we've got cherry tomato, wet garlic, olive oil, and that's it. Take the garlic. This is wet garlic, it means you don't have to peel it. The skin on the outside hasn't dried up and protected the clove, so you can slice right through this and all of it is good to eat. So this is on a low heat. I'm just going to slice through the garlic and you're going to stick that in your pan. You just want a slow sweat going on. Now traditional Italian tomato sauce is garlic, olive oil, cherry tomato, salt. Put a little bit of basil in there and a tiny bit of sugar, because these cherry tomatoes are good, but they're just not, it's not the peak of the season, it's not completely ripe for tomatoes, so you can add a tiny bit of sugar just to balance out that acidity and lift that sweetness. So now the pan's heating up and the room is filling with that aromatic garlic that all the tomatoes in. Good bit of salt at the start. And these are whole cherry tomatoes, they've just been washed. Now the heat is going to blister the skin, start to burst those cherry tomatoes and bring out the juice. This is going to cook down for about 25 minutes. And you want to check this every 5 minutes, give it a little stir, but that heat and that sort of atmosphere that tomato is creating as it bursts, evaporates and then uses that steam to cook down the rest of the tomato. It's just going to beautifully sweat and cook that sauce away. That's just ticking away behind us, we can focus on cooking the chicken. We've got a hot pan, we're going to add a little bit of sunflower oil. You can use vegetable oil, sunflower oil, rapeseed oil. You want a nondescript oil, flavourless oil. Could be grapeseed oil, it's a little bit spenny to be honest, but it could be anything. You want a good glug, a good amount. The amount of fat in there is going to lubricate the chicken parm. It's going to take the heat from the pan, heat up the oil, and then crisp up and make the breadcrumbs golden brown and caramelized. So you want a good amount. Don't be scared of it. Take your palm, you go straight in. You want this bubbling and crisping up. You want the temperature of the oil to not be too hot, not be too cold. You're looking for that little bubble happy sound. happy sound, the little bubble, the happy sound. And you can see around the outside of the chicken palm, you can see how fast it's going golden. And if it's going golden too quick, just turn it down or take the pan away from the heat. You're in control of the heat, you're the master of the heat. You don't let the heat control you. Let's have a check of our tomato sauce. Steam's starting to come off. Tomatoes are slowly starting to blister. So if you haven't got a pair of tongs to tackle this chicken palm, what you're going to do is just use a fork. Stab it in, pick it up, beautiful golden brown, and turn it over. This has been frying for about 2 minutes each side, then we're going to go in with the butter. Now butter is just for another layer of flavour. Butter! When your butter is up to foaming, you can baste it. And you're just tilting the pan slightly, scooping up the hot butter and pouring it back over the top of the breast. Now this is beautiful and golden brown and cooked through, it's going to be good to go. Take that out onto your tray and just leave that to one side. Tomatoes properly sweating down now. The only thing that's in there is tomato water juice stuff. So we're going to reduce that. That is going to concentrate the flavour. The age-old love story of tomato and basil. We're going to bruise this up and just stick it in. So de-rust it. We're going to take the pan a little bit hotter, and that's just going to help evaporate some of that water that's left in the tomato. It's going to thicken, get richer, get darker, and just let all those flavours, the garlic, the basil, the good olive oil, that's just going to marry and sort of combine into this unctuous, tangy tomato goodness. We'll lay on top of the palm and then dip with some mozzarella and stick in the grill. The tomato sauce has been cooking now for about 20 minutes. It's completely given all of its juice. It's beautiful and thick, rich. Tiny bit of salt. Now the heat's off, we're going to start to build the palm. You want to spoon this sauce all over the top. Now if you haven't reduced it enough, this is where it's going to get quite messy. Because we've eradicated all of that tomato water and really condensed down the tomato flavour, it's just sitting proudly on top of that chicken. It's a messy job. Now let's talk about cheese. I've got mozzarella here, and I'm just going to slice it up. Now this is buffalo mozzarella. You can use any type of mozzarella, burrata, if you want to be fancy. Where do you want to go with this? It's traditionally mozzarella and a little bit of parmesan, but what you can do is cheddar, you can do Gouda, you can do Swiss, go wherever you want with it. You just want to lay this all over the top. Now this is going to melt, pour all over the sides of the tray. It's going to be a seriously messy job. But that's what you want, that cheesy goodness, sort of dripping down and completely encasing the palm in cheese. So we cover it in mozzarella and then we go parmesan on top. Be as generous as you want with this. Ready to go in the grill. 200 degrees, you want to leave that in there, bubbling away and get it golden brown for about 5 minutes. So it's been under the grill for about 5 minutes, it's gone beautiful and golden brown, and that's it done. You take your spatula, mess. Get out onto your plate. Tiny drizzle of olive oil, chopped basil, some black pepper. A simple chicken palm. We've paned the chicken, given it a beautiful seasoning, crispy, napped the butter all over the top. A really traditional tomato sauce, cherry tomato, garlic and basil, brought down for about 25-30 minutes. It's still got the freshness of the tomato, still got that tangy sweetness that you look for in a good tomato sauce. Over the top, melted cheese, parmesan. Can you say better than that? Done.